Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Andrew Winnett. I'm going to be talking to you today about how to never outlive your retirement savings. Hope you're excited. I got a lot of good content for you. But first, if you wouldn't mind, if you do enjoy this type of content, you want to see more, please like and subscribe. It helps me out, helps out the algorithm, and I'll continue to put out more free content just for you. So first things first, this is actually one of the biggest causes of fear, anxiety, stress for baby boomers, okay? Whether they're pre-retire or they're already retired. This is not something that you want to mess around with. In fact, Time Magazine put out an article that stated after a big group and after a big interview process that the #1 cause of happiness in that, I think it was like 1,000 people in retirement, was having a steady stream of income that they could count on, and that they weren't going to run out of money in their retirement. There is nothing worse than running out of money, so we want to avoid it. So let's talk about that. There are 5 things that you can practically do that will really help you to ensure that you're not going to run out of money in retirement. The first one is stop losing money, okay? This may seem pretty basic and standard, but it is something that people, believe it or not, they don't realize that they're losing money every single year, because everyone's doing it, right? So it must be good. It must be, if everyone's doing it, maybe I should do it too. Not the way that millionaires and billionaires think. How do we stop losing money? There's something called the sequence of returns. I'll do another video on that if you'd like. Put that in the comments if you'd like to see that. But sequence of returns is really important. What it basically means is if you have 2 couples, okay, that are the same age and they have the same amount of money and they both retire at the same time, one of them experiences good years in the market and then bad years later, and the second couple experiences bad years in the market first and then good years later. With taking out the same amount of money every single year, the one that experiences the down years first runs out of money far before the first couple that experiences the bad years later. I ask this to my clients. This is something that you should ask yourself, okay? You're approaching retirement. You know, you've got to start thinking about conserving. Yes, when you're young, 20, 30 years old, you can afford to have a little bit more risk, right? Because you're playing the long game. You can afford another 15, 20, 30 years to recuperate any losses. But as you're approaching retirement, especially if you have qualified money, like a traditional IRA, traditional 401k, 403bs, etc., you're going to have to take out what's called required minimum distributions. If you take a required minimum distribution when the market is down, it's a greater percentage being taken from your portfolio unnecessarily. So I ask my clients this question. It's good for you to ask this. Are you willing to lose all of your money, some of your money, or none of your money in retirement? Most of my clients say none of their money. They worked hard for their money, right? That's every red cent that they have. Well, then I tell, why are you in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and variable annuities, right? That may have been okay when you're 20 or 30 years old. Similar to when you're 20 or 30, you probably had a different car, a different vehicle. When you're just getting married, just having kids, well, when you get older, you change vehicles as you get older. It's the same thing in the financial industry. You need to change that vehicle if you're not willing to lose some of your money or all of your money. The second thing that you want to stop doing is stop paying fees. Now, listen, a worker is worthy of his wages. I'm sure you've heard that quote before. But here's the thing. We're living in a day and an age where the investment world is innovating. You can go on to Robinhood, E-Trade, Merrill Edge. There's lots. You can Google it, but there's lots of different ways where you can invest in the market in the same things that you're investing in with your financial advisor, and it costs you nothing, right? It costs you zero. In fact, some of them will pay you for moving your money over into that broker account. So what do I mean by stop paying fees? Here's a good example, okay? Let's say you have $1 million. You're turning 65, getting ready to retire, maybe 62, whatever, right? $1 million in this day and age is not a whole lot. You probably need a little bit more than that. And by the way, most people don't even have $1 million saved up. But nonetheless, let's just use round numbers and say $1 million. If you're paying only 1%, which by the way, the average person pays 1% to their financial advisor and 1% in account fees, okay? That's collectively. So they're paying 2% on average. In fact, there's been some studies showing it's about 2.3%. Lately, financial advisors know this, so they're cutting back a bit and they're charging 0.5% because they know that the financial world is changing, it's evolving. But let's just say you're only paying 1% total between your account and your financial advisor's commissions, okay? 1% off of $1 million is 10 grand. Now, let's say you're retired for 25 years. You pass away at 90, okay? That's $250,000 that you paid unnecessarily in fees, okay? Now, here's the thing. Whether your money went up or went down, those fees are still taken out. Imagine if that 250 grand was reinvested. What would the compound effect do, right? You may have had years worth of more payments that you could have enjoyed, maybe more vacation, something to leave to your loved ones. You get the idea. So there is ways to stop paying fees. If you're paying anything more than 0.5%, you're paying too much, okay? And I mean 0.5% between your financial advisor and your account fees. And a lot of times people have no idea what their account fees are. Just so you guys know, variable annuities, they have between 3.5% and 5.5% in fees on average. So if you're trying to avoid fees, variable annuities have a ton of fees, okay? So you gotta be careful with those. Stop paying fees, don't pay more than 0.5%. Number 3, you gotta plan for long-term care. Now here's the thing, long-term care, okay, is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America. Okay, you worked your whole life to stack up some money in your nest egg account, okay? The last thing you wanna do is get into a chronic illness situation, okay, which means you can't perform 2 out of the 6 assisted daily living activities, eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, etc. That's considered a chronic illness if it's lasted more than 90 days. Now here's the thing, most people, when they get onto Medicare, okay, when they turn 65 or they, there's some other reasons why you get on Medicare if you're disabled, etc. But when they get on Medicare, their Medicare Advantage plan is not going to pay them if they're in a chronic illness situation. Medicare supplement plans can, but the point is that with long-term care, it's separate in and of itself. It's going to cover extended care. And Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement a lot of times doesn't have those types of, at least not most of them, they don't cover everything. And so a lot of people don't know this and they find themselves or their loved ones in a chronic illness situation and it just wrecks them financially. I'll tell you a quick story. I have a friend, we'll call him Joe, and he lived in California and his wife got dementia. Now, he had a very successful tile company and was worth millions. His wife gets dementia and holds on, man. She's a stubborn woman. She's, fighting. But because they didn't have the proper long-term care coverage, he had to drain out all of his investment accounts, all of his IRAs. He had to sell his company. And by the time she finally passed, he was left with nothing but his house equity. So he lost everything. So it was very, very difficult on them financially. Now, here's the thing. If you go for a long-term care standalone plan, it's going to be between $1,000 and $3,000, even if you can qualify, which a lot of people, if they have minor health issues, it jacks up that price exponentially. The better way to do it, and I'll tell you a quick story. So I had a client, she was about 63 years old, and she wanted long-term care. Well, we looked at long-term care standalones. She had mild osteoporosis, and it was going to cost her like almost $3,000 for the proper coverage for a standalone long-term care policy. Well, she was able to qualify with a life insurance policy and add it as a rider, okay, a chronic illness rider, and it was $300 a month. I mean, it was super, super cheap, and she qualified for it. So the point is that you can get long-term care coverage built in with life insurance or a fixed index annuity, okay? Fixed index annuities, a lot of times, so if it's like a pension, if it's paying you, let's say it's paying you $25,000 a year, well, it'll double if you find yourself in a long-term care situation. So now you're making 50 grand a year for a certain amount of years, okay? And that's included in the policies for free in the fixed index annuities. So that's another way that you can get it and plan for long-term care. Number 4, and by the way, before I move on, even if you've got $5 million in the bank account, you still need to have a plan for long-term care, okay? If you think that, oh, I'll just shell out the money, that's fine, but it can cost a lot. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands. And if you're a fighter and you're stubborn, like most people are, it may cost you $1 million. And so you gotta plan for that, okay? Number 4, earn more than inflation. Inflation right now, on average, over the last 30 years is 3.22%. You can find that on Google. Here's the thing, a lot of people think, and by the way, I'll probably do another video on this, but inflation right now, okay, the interest rates are gonna stay close to 0 until 2022, okay? That is a catastrophe for people who have their money in checking accounts, in CDs, in anything where money markets, anything where they're not earning more than inflation, 3.22%, their money is rotting, okay? We gotta avoid that. You wanna shoot for double inflation, okay? That means you need to net 6.5%, net. You can't afford to have a bad year, okay? You can't go down negative, take some money out. I mean, you will run out of money. So you gotta earn more than inflation. You need to shoot for 2 times, and that means 6.5 net of fees. Net of fees, commissions, etc. You need to make 6.5% net. It is doable. We'll talk about more of that later. Number 5, the most important one, you need to pursue guarantees without risk, okay? Listen, when you're 30 or 40 years old, you can afford a little bit of risk. When you're getting ready to retire, 50 to 75, no more risk, okay? You need to hold on to every red cent, and you need to put those red cents to work. So you need to pursue guarantees. What kind of guarantees can you get in the investment world? A lot of people are unaware of this. You can get guarantees to where you'll never lose your principal, okay? You can get guarantees where you'll never have to pay another fee. You can get guarantees where you can never outlive your income. You can start your own pension plan, okay? There's lots of different guarantees that you can find. In fact, there are guarantees that are contractually guaranteed. Contractually guaranteed to never lose money in the market. They have what's called an annual reset. So when you get to participate in the market, so when the market goes up, your money goes up. Okay, hopefully you can see that. When the market goes down, you have what's called the power of an annual reset, which means you level off, okay? So you may not make any money that year, but everybody else invested in the market lost money. When the market goes up, your money goes up. When the market goes down, you level off. Again, it's not so much money, it's not so much about how much do you make, it's how much do you not lose. You can still make great rates of return, as we'll talk about, but the power of the annual reset is really important. You need to pursue guarantees without risk. So let me give you just a handful of examples, okay? Number 1, there are accumulation annuities out there where you can earn 9 to 12% based upon historical lookbacks, 0 fees, okay, 0 fees, think about that. 0 fees and 0 market risk. You have, when the market is volatile and everyone else is losing money, you didn't lose a penny, okay? 9 to 12% on average based upon historical lookbacks, 14%. You can actually earn 14% annually towards your income base for an income annuity, which is like a pension, okay? The 14% is an accounting number that determines how much you get paid every single month. So for example, if you're deferring it, like I want to put some money in an income annuity, and when I retire in 4 years, I want to turn it on. This may be a great option because you're going to earn 14% annually, and then there are options out there where you can have a 30% bonus. Some of them offer 10, some of them offer 15, some of them offer 30. Some are vested, some are not. There's definitely different options, but 30% bonus towards your income base. So if you have $1 million, your income base, which determines how much you're going to get paid for the rest of your life, all of a sudden jumps from 1 million to 1.3 million. Now it's an accounting number, okay, that determines the payout, but your payout goes up based upon that bonus. Okay, it's really, really powerful. So my point in all of this, guys, is listen, you worked hard for your money, okay? The last thing that you need to be worrying about, okay, you've been spinning plates your whole life. Spinning plates with the career, spinning plates with investments, with your children, with the house, with the dog, taking them to the vet. all these different things. The last thing you want to be dealing with is worrying about money when you should be finally enjoying your money. And so you gotta, this is the way where you can never outlive your retirement savings. You can enjoy the retirement of your dreams, okay? I've helped over 5,000 clients do this with my company that I started, okay? 5,000 people. Out of the 5,000, we've never lost one penny of our clients' money because we only invest in safe money products. Safe money products where you don't lose money in the market, you stop paying fees, it takes care of your long-term care, you earn more than inflation, and you get the guarantees without the risk. If you'd like to learn more, you can click on the link below, check out my website. But listen, if you want more of this information, do me a favor. I'm asking you, please subscribe, please like, please put a comment in. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next video.